Every year, millions of Americans wake up before dawn to save $12 on a toaster and somehow end up on the evening news. 1. The microwave melee. In 2014, a Texas Walmart opened its doors at midnight, and within 30 seconds, two grown adults were wrestling over a $29 microwave like it was the last lifeboat on the Titanic. The crowd actually formed a cheering circle, because nothing says holiday spirit like watching your neighbors perform WWE moves in the home appliance aisle. The kicker? After 5 minutes of chaos, one of them realized it wasn't even the right model. They were fighting over the display unit. 2. The cart catapult incident. At a Best Buy in Ohio, one man decided the fastest way to reach the discounted TVs was to ride his shopping cart like a chariot. He launched himself down the main aisle shouting, "For freedom!" Unfortunately, shopping carts are not designed for combat. He hit a display of Blu-rays, crashed, and was immediately applauded by a group of teens who rated the dive 9.5 for form, 0 for planning. The only thing more broken than his dignity was the cart. 3. The Great Toaster Uprising. A department store in Florida learned the hard way that putting all their $10 toasters on one table was an act of war. Witnesses said the moment an employee shouted, "Go!" the crowd surged like it was the Oklahoma land rush. Toasters flew through the air like frisbees. One woman grabbed 3, declared, "Mine," and used the boxes as makeshift armor. By the time security arrived, the table was gone, literally flattened. It looked less like a sale and more like the aftermath of a medieval siege. 4. The sleep-deprived philosopher. After camping outside a Target for 19 hours, a man was interviewed by local news. When asked what he was waiting for, he stared blankly into the camera and said, "I forgot." Turns out, he'd been in line so long that he lost track of which store he was at. He thought he was waiting for an Apple Store launch. Instead, he was first in line for discounted socks and bath towels. He bought them anyway, out of respect for the journey. 5. The flat screen fiasco. In California, two strangers agreed to share the last 65-inch TV, a noble gesture doomed from the start. When it came time to pay, both grabbed one side of the box and refused to let go. Security footage showed them walking together, locked in silent combat, dragging the TV through 3 departments like divorced parents fighting for custody. The store manager eventually solved the dispute by unplugging the display model and handing it to the calmest person nearby, a 10-year-old holding a churro. 6. The blender betrayal. At a mall in Wisconsin, a husband and wife made a solemn pact. She'd grab the half-price blender, he'd get the discounted air fryer. Simple plan, until the husband spotted the last PlayStation on the shelf. He ditched his mission and joined the gamer horde, leaving his wife in the smoothie section to battle alone. She emerged victorious but furious, holding a cracked blender box and muttering, "He can make his own damn protein shakes." That night, witnesses saw him sleeping peacefully, on the lawn next to the air fryer. 7. The stroller stampede. In 2018, a young mother in Pennsylvania turned her baby stroller into a tactical vehicle. Inside, not a baby, but 3 $15 Blu-ray players, 2 coffee makers, and a suspiciously calm Pomeranian. When security stopped her, she calmly pointed to the dog and said, "He's just heavy." The officers didn't know whether to laugh or salute her commitment. She didn't get arrested, but she did get interviewed by a local radio station as the mother of invention. 8. The camping chair. Philosopher. Part 2. In Illinois, one man camped outside a Walmart for 3 days, complete with a tent, generator, and a flag that said "Discount or Die." When the doors finally opened, he casually strolled in after everyone else. When asked why he didn't rush, he said, "The real deal was inside me all along." He bought nothing but a bag of Doritos and a scented candle, then sat in the parking lot handing out life advice to strangers. He's probably still there, waiting for enlightenment or Cyber Monday. 9. The GPS disaster. A group of bargain hunters in Oregon followed their phone's GPS to what they thought was the official Black Friday entrance. It was actually the store's loading dock. They ended up trapped behind a locked gate with 50 shopping carts and no way out. For 2 hours, they watched the real crowd enter through the front while they yelled, "We were here first!" The store manager eventually freed them, but not before one man tried to scale the gate using an ironing board as a ladder. He didn't make it, but his commitment to savings was inspirational. 10. The Great Parking Lot Tragedy. One woman in Arkansas waited 5 hours in freezing weather for the doors to open, only to realize she'd locked her car with the engine running. The keys, her purse, and her dignity were all inside. When Aloe finally arrived, the store was sold out of everything she wanted. In a fit of poetic rage, she marched into the nearest gas station and bought a full-priced coffee maker out of spite. "At least," she said, sipping from a styrofoam cup, "it comes with free sanity." 11. The Doorbuster Duel. In 2019, two men in Tennessee reached for the same $90 TV at the exact same moment. What followed was less of a disagreement and more of an interpretive dance of aggression. They both refused to let go, shuffling side to side like synchronized shoppers. Finally, one of them shouted, "Let's settle this like men," and challenged the other to rock, paper, scissors. The loser accepted his defeat honorably, then immediately returned to the shelf and grabbed a $20 toaster like it was a consolation trophy. Witnesses say it was the most civilized act of violence they'd ever seen. 12. The Security Guard Savior. At a mall in Nevada, a security guard became an overnight legend. When two women started fighting over a discounted Dyson vacuum, he calmly stepped between them, holding a megaphone and a turkey leg. He announced, "Ladies, there are still vacuums in aisle 7 and gravy in my heart." The entire crowd started cheering. Not only did the fight stop, but people actually followed him to aisle 7 like he was leading a holiday pilgrimage. One shopper later said, "He didn't just keep the peace, he restored my faith in humanity and handheld appliances." 13. The Blender Incident, Part 2. A teenager in Minnesota thought he could outsmart the chaos by ordering online for in-store pickup. When he arrived, the clerk said the system was down and his blender was probably somewhere in the pile. He tried to find it himself, diving into a mountain of identical boxes, like a raccoon in a recycling bin. 5 minutes later, he emerged victorious, holding a humidifier. The crowd applauded. He kept it. Sometimes victory isn't about what you wanted, it's about what you survived. 14. The Corporate Apology Tour. In 2015, one big box retailer tried to look generous by handing out mystery gift cards to the first 100 customers. The marketing team forgot to mention that 98 of them were worth $1. When the crowd realized this, they stormed the customer service desk demanding refunds for their time. The manager panicked and offered store-brand cookies as compensation. The next morning, the local paper ran the headline, "Riot Quelled by Snickerdoodles." It remains the most delicious peace treaty in retail history. 15. The Man Who Outsmarted Black Friday. While everyone else was freezing in line or brawling over waffle irons, one guy in Kansas had a revelation. He walked into the store at 6 p.m. on Saturday. No crowds, no chaos. He bought the same items at the same sale prices because the manager forgot to turn off the discount system. When asked how he discovered this loophole, he said, "I didn't. I just hate mornings." To this day, locals refer to him as the Prophet of Patience, a man who proved that sometimes the best Black Friday strategy is simply waiting for everyone else to lose their minds first. 16. The $2 tent disaster. At a Walmart parking lot in Kentucky, a group of die-hard deal hunters decided to camp out like real pioneers. They brought a tent, a cooler, and exactly zero understanding of weather reports. A storm rolled in at 3 a.m., flipping their tent into the next zip code. When the doors opened, they were soaked, shivering, and holding onto each other like survivors of a shipwreck. One of them still grabbed a discounted blender, though, because nothing says commitment like chasing a deal through a tornado. 17. The Self-Checkout Rebellion. In Arizona, one store tried to modernize by having only self-checkout stations on Black Friday. Within minutes, chaos erupted. People scanned one item, got an error message, and collectively decided that the machines were anti-human. An elderly man shouted, "This is how the robots take over," and led a protest to reopen a human register. The manager caved within 10 minutes. Sometimes revolution starts not with injustice, but with a $14 air fryer that refuses to scan. 18. The Mystery Bag Miracle. A small store in Maine accidentally mislabeled a shipment of clearance items as mystery grab bags, $5 each. Customers bought them like they contained the secrets of the universe. Turns out they were filled with random returns, mismatched socks, broken headphones, and one confused taxidermy squirrel wearing sunglasses. A woman opened hers and yelled, "Best $5 I've ever spent." The store sold out in 15 minutes. Proof that on Black Friday, mystery is more powerful than logic. 19. The Great TV Escape. In Chicago, a man successfully purchased a massive flat-screen TV, only to realize his car was a compact Prius. Witnesses watched as he tried every possible angle to fit it inside, diagonally, upside down, through the sunroof. After an hour of failure, he strapped it to the roof with extension cords and drove home at 12 miles per hour like a pioneer hauling sacred treasure. The TV survived. His marriage didn't. 20. The manager who snapped in Ohio. A retail manager finally broke after 10 years of Black Fridays. Halfway through his shift, he stood on the counter and announced, "Everything is free if you can carry it out before I catch you." The store went silent, thinking it was a joke, until someone grabbed a coffee maker and bolted. He was tackled by security, the manager was retired the next morning, and corporate quietly sent a memo banning creative morale tactics. His co-workers still talk about him like a folk hero. 21. The Grandma Gladiator. A sweet-looking grandmother in Nebraska became an overnight legend after body-checking a man twice her size over a discounted air fryer. When reporters asked how she trained, she simply said, "I've raised 5 kids and survived bingo night." This was nothing. She became a local celebrity, with neighbors calling her the Fryer Queen. The man she tackled later admitted, "I didn't even want the air fryer. I just didn't want to lose to Grandma." 22. The Smartphone Stampede. In New Jersey, a store announced a limited-time flash sale on smartphones. The crowd surged like it was the last helicopter out of a zombie apocalypse. One woman lost her shoe, another her wig, and one man lost his faith in humanity. When the dust settled, all the phones were gone, and half the crowd realized they'd been fighting for display models with no batteries. The store manager summed it up best. "We didn't sell phones. We sold chaos, and it was half off." 23. The Midnight MacBook Meltdown. In California, a college student camped outside an Apple store for 8 hours, fueled by energy drinks and blind optimism. When doors opened, he sprinted to the counter only to learn the sale started online only. Witnesses say he stood there in silence, blinking like a man who'd just seen the void. Then he calmly sat down, opened his laptop, and ordered the MacBook at full price out of pure spite. The crowd applauded. It was less a purchase and more a $1,299 act of emotional protest. 24. The Tactical Grandma Alliance. At a mall in Michigan, 3 elderly women formed what onlookers called a shopping strike team. They communicated via walkie-talkies, divided the store into sectors, and even used a code word, Bargain Eagle. Within 10 minutes, they secured 10 coffee makers, 6 blenders, and the respect of every younger shopper who witnessed it. When security asked how they coordinated so well, the leader just winked and said, "We survived the Cold War, honey. We can handle Black Friday." 25. The Store That Fought Back. One department store in North Carolina tried to prevent door-crashing chaos by implementing a reverse Black Friday. The doors stayed locked until everyone agreed to line up calmly. The crowd agreed, then immediately broke into a full sprint the second the locks clicked. One guy tripped and used a pile of teddy bears as a landing pad. It became a viral moment titled, "Peace Treaty Ends in Stuffed Casualties." The store never tried it again. 26. The Popcorn Rioters. A movie theater in Texas joined the trend by offering $1 popcorn refills for Black Friday. They didn't expect 600 people to show up at once. The popcorn machine broke within 15 minutes, and the crowd turned mutinous. Someone started chanting, "Well, we want butter," like it was a political rally. When staff finally brought out a second machine, it blew a fuse and plunged the theater into darkness. People used their phone flashlights to keep chanting. The manager later said, "It was like leading a revolution armed with snack food." 27. The Parking Lot Prophet. Every year, the same man in Ohio doesn't shop. He sets up a lawn chair in the parking lot with a thermos of coffee and a sign that reads, "You don't need any of this." People mock him, argue with him, and occasionally buy him a donut. But by 10 a.m., he's surrounded by burned-out shoppers sitting beside him, realizing he's right. Last year, someone handed him a free toaster and said, "You've earned it." He didn't even take it out of the box. He just nodded and said, "Temptation rejected." 28. The Baby Yoda Brawl. In 2019, 2 parents in a Target fought over the last Baby Yoda plushie. The battle escalated from words to tug-of-war to a full wrestling match in the toy aisle. When the police arrived, both were clutching half of the toy like a medieval relic. The officer separated them and said, "You both lost custody." The incident went viral as the child custody dispute. The next day, Target restocked, but only online, for everyone's safety. 29. The Inflatable Santa Showdown. In Florida, two neighbors turned a Black Friday yard sale into a suburban arms race. One scored a 12-foot inflatable Santa for half off. The other, not to be outdone, bought an 18-footer online before sunrise. By noon, both Santas were towering over their cul-de-sac like red polyester kaiju. The power grid flickered under the strain of their dueling extension cords. When one Santa's head deflated mid-afternoon, the victor's owner played We Are the Champions on loop for 3 straight hours. The HOA issued 6 citations, but historians agree it was worth it. 30. The Shopping Cart Commando. A man in Oklahoma arrived at 3 a.m., wearing full camouflage, knee pads, and what he proudly called his cart armor. He had drawn a tactical map of the store, complete with entry routes and target zones. Unfortunately, his plan unraveled when he tripped on a display rug before the doors even opened, taking out 3 other shoppers like bowling pins. When asked if it was worth it, he replied, "Every operation has casualties." His total haul, 1 discounted toaster and a bruised ego. 31. The Coffee Machine Conspiracy. A group of caffeine-deprived shoppers in Oregon started a rumor that a store was secretly giving away free espresso machines to early arrivals. Within minutes, the crowd doubled. By the time employees clarified the mistake, no one believed them, because someone had already claimed to see the giveaway. People stormed the small appliances section like caffeine-fueled treasure hunters, demanding proof. The manager finally brought out a demo unit just to calm the mob. It didn't help. To this day, the rumor resurfaces every November, fueled by hope, desperation, and espresso withdrawals. 32. The Broken Escalator Uprising. In a New York mall, an escalator broke down mid-rush, instantly transforming into a metallic staircase of doom. Hundreds of people froze, unsure what to do next. Some turned around, others started shouting for technical assistance. One brave soul finally shouted, "It's just stairs," and began climbing, breaking the collective spell. The crowd erupted in applause like someone had solved physics. By the time maintenance arrived, the escalator was still broken, but humanity had learned a valuable lesson about walking. 33. The Dishwasher Deception. A small-town appliance store in Idaho offered a buy one, get one free deal on dishwashers, but forgot to include the fine print, 1 per household. Within hours, one man had returned 3 times in different disguises, each with a new fake mustache. He even changed his voice on attempt number 4. The clerk finally caught on when Carlos showed up with the same truck full of identical dishwashers. When confronted, the man sighed and said, "Well, it was worth a shot." He wasn't banned. The manager was laughing too hard to care. 34. The Drone Disaster. In 2016, a tech store in Nevada held a drone demonstration to attract shoppers. The employee showing it off clearly had never flown one before. Within 30 seconds, the drone hit a ceiling fan, ricocheted into a balloon arch, and then crash-landed in a pyramid of iPhone cases. The crowd gasped, then applauded. The employee stood there covered in confetti like a war hero who just survived the world's most festive airstrike. Sales of drones tripled that day, because apparently, nothing sells better than watching one crash spectacularly. 35. The Coupon Queen's Coup. A woman in Missouri armed herself with a 3-ring binder of color-coded coupons that looked like it belonged in the Library of Congress. When a cashier told her she could only use 1 per item, she pulled out a printed copy of the store's policy, highlighted, tabbed, and notarized. After a tense 10-minute standoff, the manager personally approved her stack. She saved $417 and left the store to a standing ovation. Onlookers whispered, "She's not shopping, she's waging war." And like every great general, she left with both victory and 28 bottles of laundry detergent. 36. The Turkey TV Heist. In Colorado, a man tried to disguise himself as a Thanksgiving turkey mascot from the store's parade so he could sneak into the employee-only section where the TVs were stored. The disguise worked until his oversized foam drumstick tail knocked over an entire display of slow cookers. He sprinted away, feathers flying, yelling, "I just wanted a discount." Security caught him halfway across the parking lot, still flapping. The store manager said it best. He was the first turkey we've ever had to tackle. 37. The Shopping Buddy Betrayal. 2 best friends in Alabama promised they'd share everything they bought that day to avoid fighting over items. But when one found the last discounted Nintendo Switch, their bond dissolved faster than loyalty points. They wrestled for 10 minutes until a teenager yelled, "Just split it. One gets the console, one gets the charger." Somehow, that made sense to both of them. They left the store silent, still friends in theory, but forever divided by one missing HDMI cable and too much pride. 38. The Pajama Parade. In Seattle, a department store announced that the first 100 customers in pajamas would get a free gift card. By 5 a.m., the parking lot looked like a sleepover hosted by caffeine-addled lunatics. People wore bathrobes, fuzzy slippers, and one man in a full cow onesie who declared himself the patron saint of deals. When the doors opened, the pajama parade surged inside, chanting, "Comfort and chaos." Local news covered it live, calling it a rare event where fashion and insanity perfectly overlap. 39. The Discount GPS Disaster. A group of friends in Texas decided to visit every major store for the best deals. Their GPS guided them to what they thought was a Walmart, but turned out to be a private airfield with a blue hangar. They waited 2 hours in line behind a chain-link fence before realizing their mistake. Instead of admitting defeat, they set up folding chairs and started selling snacks to passing drivers as Walmart parking lot refreshments. They actually made $60 in profit, proof that sometimes the best deal is realizing you're the deal. 40. The Manager's Pep Talk Meltdown. Before opening time, one overenthusiastic manager in Ohio gave his staff a pep talk that could rival a halftime speech. "We are the front line of commerce. We are the guardians of the bargain," he yelled, standing on a pallet of paper towels. Then the automatic doors opened early, smacking him square in the back and launching him off the pallet like a catapult. The crowd roared, phones out, and someone shouted, "He fell for savings." He was fine, and corporate quietly turned the clip into a training video titled, "Maintain Safe Pep Talk Distance." 41. The Free Sample Frenzy. A grocery chain in Georgia offered free samples of pumpkin pie to shoppers waiting in line. By noon, the sample station looked like a medieval siege. People were cutting in line, hoarding toothpicks, and one woman brought her own Tupperware just in case. When the samples ran out, the crowd started chanting, "More pie!" The poor intern handing them out had to escape through the frozen foods aisle. The manager ended the promotion early, muttering, "Next year, we're sampling bottled water." 42. The VR Headset Incident. At a tech store in New York, a customer testing a VR headset forgot where he was and started swinging at invisible enemies. Unfortunately, the invisible enemies were surrounded by very visible shoppers. He knocked over a display of Fitbits, clotheslined a bystander, and ended up tangled in an HDMI cable like a digital spiderweb. When staff finally pulled the headset off, he blinked, disoriented, and said, "Did I win?" The clerk replied, "Sir, you fought a blender." The footage got 3 million views in a day, and the store sold out of VR headsets that same afternoon. 43. The Price Match Philosopher in Minnesota. A man treated Black Friday like an academic thesis titled "The Metaphysics of Price Matching." He arrived with a binder of printed ads, a pocket calculator, and a laser pointer he used to highlight discrepancies like a professor lecturing on toaster ethics. When one store refused to match a competitor's already matched price, he argued they'd created an infinite loop, a discount Ouroboros. A small crowd gathered as he diagrammed the paradox on a whiteboard from the office supplies aisle. After 20 minutes, the manager surrendered and knocked another $10 off just to end the seminar. The philosopher bowed, purchased a waffle iron for the price of a greeting card, and left whispering, "Commerce is a circle." Somewhere, a freshman economics class now studies his chart as the Minnesota model of savings relativity, which, to be fair, does sound like a real thing. 44. The Midnight Delivery Mix-Up. A strip mall in New Mexico saw 2 trucks arrive at 3:58 a.m., one carrying pallets of 65-inch TVs for the electronics store, the other carrying 900 pounds of scented candles for the nail salon next door. Labels got swapped in the dark. By 4:10, a dozen shoppers were reverently wheeling pallets of Mountain Pine Serenity into the TV department and debating which wick size had the best refresh rate. Meanwhile, the nail salon owner stared at a mountain of televisions and whispered, "French tips? In 4K?" Realizing the error, staff built a human chain through the parking lot. Customers joined in, passing TVs one way and candles the other, like a seasonal bucket brigade. When the doors finally opened, They all cheered. The electronics manager shouted, "Everybody gets 10% off," and the salon added, "Plus, complimentary pine aroma forever." 45. The Bluetooth Speaker Siege. A big box in Georgia set up a wall of Bluetooth speakers synced to one demo tablet. An employee hit play. 60 speakers exploded into life with the holiday song you're already hearing in your nightmares by Thanksgiving week. It was so loud that car alarms in the parking lot harmonized. Panic. A dad tried to pause it on his phone, accidentally pairing instead, and suddenly his personal playlist, an earnest, soft rock ballad, echoed across the store like a confession. He froze. The crowd cheered. The song looped twice while staff scrambled for the master control, and somewhere in housewares, a toddler began conducting the chaos with a spatula like a tiny maestro. When silence finally returned, the bakery started handing out cookies for emotional recovery. The speaker display sold out in under an hour. Apparently nothing moves units like mild public humiliation in stereo. 46. The Return Ninja A-woman in Utah executed a return and rebuy maneuver so precise it felt choreographed by NASA. She purchased a stand mixer at 4:02 a.m., confirmed the price drop scheduled for 4:15, and positioned herself at customer service with a color-coded spreadsheet, 2 receipts, and an atomic clock app. At 4:14:58, she slid the box onto the counter. At 4:15 night, the price dropped. At 4:15:03, she completed a return, repurchase, and coupon stack that made the register beep like a heart monitor. Employees applauded. One whispered, "Teach me." She nodded solemnly and handed him a laminated flowchart labeled Operation Whisk Whisperer. Her savings, $137. Her time, 13 minutes. Her legend, permanent. If the military needs logistics commanders for holiday supply lines, they should recruit at that service desk. She walked out without haste, sipping cocoa like a general after a flawlessly executed campaign. 47. The Great Mannequin Escape. A rookie retail worker in Nevada watched the post-opening surge hit like a tidal wave. His job, ferry high-demand items from the stock room to the floor. After 3 trips through the crowd, he discovered a side corridor used for visual merchandising, featuring 6 headless mannequins on rolling bases. He slipped behind a blazer, grabbed the rod like a handle, and pushed the mannequin in front of him as mobile cover. Crowds politely parted for the display. It worked so well that other employees formed a mannequin convoy, gliding past shoppers with eerie, headless authority. Someone filmed it. The clip went viral as the silent parade of savings. Corporate eventually issued a safety memo titled, "Please don't become one with the fixtures," but also, privately, "Nice improvisation." The rookie was promoted to logistics lead. The mannequins retired with honors and seasonal scarves. 48. The Pallet Pricing Glitch, Grand Finale. In Ohio, a warehouse club labeled a single TV as 199 pallet in tiny print, meaning pallet location, not entire pallet. A man with a rental pickup and the serene confidence of a heist movie hero rolled up and said, "I'll take the pallet." The cashier shrugged, scanned the shelf tag, and the register, sweet, naive machine, processed 30 televisions for $199 total. A manager arrived. A committee formed. A philosopher, Fact 43, reappeared to argue, "The word is law." After an hour of tense policy exegesis, the store compromised. He could take 1 TV at the glitch price if he donated another to a local shelter. He agreed instantly, then added a second donation himself. Cameras flashed, everyone cheered, and the shelter posted a photo captioned, "Best Black Friday ever." He drove away with 1 TV, a receipt that belongs in a museum, and a town's gratitude. Which fiasco wins the golden holiday chaos? Cast your vote below.